trooped through our quarters to go up to bed. The landlady lived in the adjoining house. Neighborhood kids said she was mean. Stray balls that landed in her yard never came out. Luckily for my father's baseball budget, she was nice to us. My father lobbed underhanded pitches to me, and I regularly whacked them over the back fence into the landlady's yard. My father, according to Marshall Street lore, was the only person ever to return alive from her yard, ball in hand. Unable to find a bat for a 4-year-old, my father bought a standard-sized Louisville slugger, then put the saw to it. He presented me with 17 inches of hickory handle. Perfect. That stunted, clubbish bat stands in a corner of my office today. It reminds me of how small I once was, and that the landlady's fence was both the first and last fence that I ever hit a baseball over. Over the fence out front, I sensed something else. The gate facing the sidewalk was metal, and I used to grip those bars with my tiny hands and plant my feet and belt out "Jesus loves me" to the turning, smiling passers-by. At some point during my brief singing phase, I acquired a baby brother, Billy. My mother tells me that because I then had to compete for her attention, I brought my performances inside to the living room and kitchen. The next house we lived in, we had all to ourselves. It was also a row house, but it had a front porch. It was deeper into the East End on Chestnut Street. I always remember the number, 224 Chestnut, because my grandparents lived at 226, the house next door. I wasn't allowed to cross the street, but I did roam up and down the sidewalk, and that led me to the vacant lot at the end of our row of houses. When I think of that lot, I think of weeds and of brown and blue broken glass. It became my first playground, my first ball field. Many of my days were spent there until I began school. I did not go to kindergarten, so my first taste of school was first grade at Gottwal's Elementary. We learned to write the letters of the alphabet, then our names. I recall laboring over each pencil-printed letter and the miracle of completing my name on the blue-lined paper. My first written work. I was destined to learn little else at Gottwal's. We rented our house on Chestnut Street, but my parents had been searching for a place to buy. When they got the chance, they took it, even though it meant transferring me to a new first grade in a new school. We were moving to the West End. West End. The West End became more than my home and neighborhood. It became my new world. No coonskin pathfinder ever explored his patch of earth more thoroughly than I explored mine. The address was 802 George Street, second house in from Elm. Another brick row house, another brick sidewalk. For 10 years I would live there, from ages 6 to 16. The 800 block was the last block on George Street. It was a dead end. Beyond the last house, the asphalt stopped. A 3-foot-high wooden barrier made it official. I learned that dead end meant two different things. To a grown-up, it meant stop, turn the car around. To me, a kid, it meant go. Your territory starts here. Before the wooden barrier was the structured, orderly world of grown-ups, the neat grid of streets and houses that gave shape to their lives. Civilization. Past the barrier was frontier. Climb over the fence or simply walk around it as a car could not, and you found yourself in knee-high weeds. Then came the railroad tracks, then the woods, then the creek, pronounced crick in Norristown. This swatch of undeveloped land featured not one but 2 dumps, plus a swamp, Red Hill, the spear field, the stone piles, and a black and white pony. Who needed playgrounds? And lucky me, the portal to this kid-sized continent was the dead end of my new street named George. I spent much of the next 10 years in this houseless, streetless wilderness and in the park on the other side of the creek. Sometimes I was with others, sometimes alone. By the time the 10 years were up, I had caught a handful of salamanders.